If you go where the hippies are, they will let you be what you want to be.
Different now than it was a few years ago.
Karl Marx was fucked up, too.
What's Haight-Ashbury like? I don't know.
I'm the first general, not the last, who tried to get the war to be fought with dogs instead of people.
Than it was a few minutes ago. I say it's different now. It's changed somehow. It's different now. Ain't no doubt of wishing well. You're looking fine. You're holding only air. Today may burst. You want to understand it. Oh, it's different now than it was a few years ago. I say it's different now than it was a few days ago. Oh, it's different now than it was a few minutes ago. It's different, I'm changing too.
Still, the hippie last year, since acid, the hippie seems
It's been brewing. It's been brewing.
Yeah, it's been brewing, but acid.
Of course, it's a whole different way of life. It's a whole different way of living. But more than that, it's a whole different way of thinking. I think this is probably why so many of the civilians have no concept. They look at the uniform, which is oftentimes bizarre, but it's fun. It's fun to be bizarre.
I can tell you the reason why the health department is down on the hippies today, because the people in San Francisco are talking about hippies. They said they live, hippies is classified as tramp or hobo or bum or something. Because man doesn't shave, he grow long hair, wear dirty clothes and things. They live in cluster pads. And if you live in pads, I've slept in the same pads myself.
The hippie movement is probably the best thing that ever happened to this country.
As soon as a person says, I'm a hippie, he's not a hippie. Yeah, but you don't say, I want to become a hippie. Which is legitimate.
That I see truth in this movement, or whatever you want to call it. I see truth. I see life in it. And I think that anything that is truth will eventually overcome.
You know, hippie is a teeny popper. A hippie is a kid who gets his slang from, I don't know what the radio station out here. In New York, it's WMCA and Murray the K. You know, for 2 years they've been listening to rock groups, first out of England, and then out of California and New York City, who've been drug associated, who are former jazz musicians, who are very much in a bohemian and avant-garde scene, and suddenly it's hip to talk drugs. A year ago, I walked in a subway station in New York, and I saw a sign advertising one of the radio stations and one of the disc jockeys, and it said, Joe O'Brien turns people on. Groovy. They picked it up. They get the newspapers, right? All the newspapers have labeled these people hippies. Somehow the word came out, and the newspapers weren't being friendly. It was a derogatory word. Everybody knew it was a derogatory word, except the fucking 15-year-old who wanted to dress up and find an answer to the fact that he couldn't get along with his parents. So he runs away to Haight-Ashbury, and he proudly proclaims that now he is no longer a neurotic juvenile. He is now a hippie. But you know something? He's still a neurotic juvenile.
You gotta stand up and speak out. My God, that's what I've been saying. Everybody in our history has said it. Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death. Does the middle class people in this country, the white middle class, are they free? Don't kid me, they're not free. They're so hung up in this mess that they've generated that they're sick half the time. They have ulcers, they hate the life they lead, and they can't stand it. And you're going to tell me what should they do? Be a human being, that's all.
We're going to have about 200. Haight-Ashbury is an area of about, well, 8 blocks, maybe 10 blocks, a little more if you consider the fringe areas. That's I guess, about one person for every 5 or 6 square feet. I think they have more space in China. We have tried to have digger houses. We've opened some. We've had to close them down. There are right now, in Hunters Point, 75 or 80 buildings vacant. The city won't let them have them. We're trying to get housing. We've gone to the churches who say, of course, that they can come on Sunday. Sunday they can have a place to sit out of the rain. Evenings they have no place to sleep. We're going to try to open up a place. We're looking for a house. Of course, we realize by holding 400 or 500, we'll probably get busted for a health violation. But that's all right. It's happened before. We're used to it. What's going to happen? There are going to be a lot of penniless kids on the street. They're not going to be responsible. They're not going to be mature. They're not going to be people with ideas. And they're not going to be creative artists. They're going to be kids looking for kicks. And frankly, if we don't get any help from the city, I don't want to be around. Because I don't want to see it, except I'm stupid. I like, you know, I'm too stupid to pull out. I'll be sticking around and trying to do something about it. I'll tell you one thing. To me, the diggers represent what is good in Haight-Ashbury. But the responsible, the creative, those who are more than speed freaks, those who are more than teeny poppers. And everybody's done it. There's only one thing that underlies, that I've come across, that every digger I've talked to agrees with, and that's that the world owes everybody a living.
We've got this survival school here where the new kids coming to Haight Street can really find out where it's at. Sex, drugs, VD, how to avoid getting busted for drugs, how to avoid gang bangs and pregnancy, how to exist without bread. We give out 6 months of experience in 3 days. What we've learned the hard way, we pass on to the new kids for free. The kids come in, 90% of them that flop in a digger pad. There'll be one open again soon. I haven't yet learned that there's a difference between freedom and license. If there's any belief in guiding digger-person relations, it's that you do your thing, you act in your interest, you act as you see fit, provided you're not interfering with someone else, provided you're not imposing on someone else. These kids forget it. They forget it when they walk down the streets and harass, you know, straight people walking along. And they're amazed when they walk into the office and someone with long hair and a beard calls them dumb hippie and insults them. They don't understand. Don't they? How can I insult them? Haven't they got beads on? Would you like to take a walk with me through homes in the Haight-Ashbury area and see all these people that are brilliantly exploring their inner consciences?
hope that the World War will come soon out of a state of compassion, and that if we enter into a hydrogen bomb war, why, it'll be very benevolent, because the universe is started with hydrogen bomb wars, in that the sun was started by a chain reaction of hydrogen explosions, and of course the sun creates life here on Earth, and the manifestations of the sun and the workings through nature are what I call God. And of course, if we have a hydrogen bomb war here, we'll create life on another planet, which is a compassionate viewpoint. Although if we don't have a war, why then we should have peace and learn about how the human body functions, and we may discover how to live forever.
Alan, during your marriage, if at any time Sally is interested in another man or woman for her pleasure, do you approve of that? I'm going to make a condition to your marriage. If at any time during your marriage, one or the other party wants a divorce, you will say, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you, and your marriage will be null and void. Do you agree to that?
Yes.
Will you put your right hand into Alan's right hand? Hold hand. By the authority and the belief granted in me by yourselves, I now pronounce you man and wife. You like Carl to be your husband?
I do.
Carl, would you like Diane to be your wife?
You know it, baby.
If at any time Carl should have any problem or difficulty, or if he should have any kind of bad luck, would you remain his wife and love and cherish him through all of his time?
Yes.
Carl, no matter whether Diane is good or bad during your marriage, will you love and cherish her?
Yeah.
Carl, if Diane showed any interest in another man or woman, would you continue to love her throughout your marriage? By the authority granted in me by yourselves, I now pronounce you man and wife.
In fact, I'm sorry we got married legally. I wish we hadn't. I wish we didn't have the stigma of a legal contract overhead where we know it would be completely voluntary all the time, because love binds together, not legal contracts, and too many people are together because of legal contracts. You know, and everyone, just think, if everyone had the freedom to know that they could walk out and, you know, it wouldn't be a big legal court hassle. You know, how many people would really stay where they are?
To have to wear a ring, or so people will say, oh, you know, they're married. It's like saying, you know, hey, I'm not going to do it. I mean, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction that of putting us in a type, or putting us in a slot of we're married and that's it. It's like a name, you're married, and it means something to them, but boy, it means something quite different to us.
Look at like they're having these love-ins now and stuff. Well, a lot of them just don't realize that all these love-ins are is a big picnic. And that people long ago have had these things, you know, a long time ago. They've got nothing new.
The people that are called the people of the hippie movement are fine people. They're misunderstood people, misunderstood particularly by police authority. There's just no communication between these people.
But I think, to go back to this point again about the only problem really is a lack of communication between the normal community and the hippie community.
Well, it looks harmless for the most part, really, except for some of the
glazed looks, you begin to wonder, because you hear about this.
That's a private thing, you know.
Is it?
Well,
Is it? Yeah, you hear all this stuff about LSD and the whole bit, you know, and you wonder, you know, how many of these guys actually are, how many of them are just, you know, just making with it, how many of them are really true hippies. I mean, according to this literature.
This is a great place for exhibitionists, really. They release a lot of interventions up here that they normally wouldn't do. We've seen a few that I know you could almost bet that they never get out of the house.
Yeah, get them on the street, and they're real inhibited and everything. Before we get them out here, and they just go reserved.
Well, I wonder.
That's what I say. You wonder how many of them are really well, hippies, and.
I don't know, and I don't imagine most of them know, really. I think it's a place to come to get together to release some inattention, possibly. I don't know what else it would be, really. There are a few that probably are protesting wars and things like this. I imagine that goes with it.
Peace and love and things like this, basically, I mean,
they're great.
They're great. They really are. But
wars are necessary, let's face it.
Somebody told me, some person told me something about they wanted to have no morals at all, which is utterly ridiculous. I think that's really what the hippies are trying to do. They are rebellious.
But I'm telling you, baby, it's easy for people who are on top to say, well, just leave me be, I want to stay, after they've got their pockets full out of other people's backs. And the people on the bottom who've had this taken out of them, like the Vietnamese peasants, let somebody else live off the sweat of their backs while their children starve. And that's exactly where a large portion of the material wealth of this country was generated, out of the backs of people around the world who suffered and sweated and starved and died to build this beautiful thing that we call the United States so fat when we have troubles reducing it. Because the only people that made anything out of poverty programs were middle-class white Americans. They ran the bureaucracy, making it, in some cases, twice or three times what they were supposed to, according to their own rules. You know, the whole thing is so ridiculous. The kids are saying, and I'm saying, and many people, the black people are saying, the hell with it, now! In my own mind, you cannot have a fragmenting, conflict-bearing economic system, which capitalism is. You cannot continue with capitalism. All the complexities of modern society that's overburdening everybody are unnecessary, and that's what the kids, and that's what we're all saying. Now, baby, because this whole scheme that you have here that you think you're so tied up in, if you just turn your back and walk away, people would make the new country work. Who's going to handle the paperwork? There will be no paperwork, and that's what makes it all so easy. You're eliminating money, you're eliminating paperwork, you don't need insurance.
I hope that the police will not be suspicious of everyone with long hair, or everyone who wears bells, or beads, or boots, or funny clothes. Too often I hear officers express the attitude that the people who are part of the hippie movement are homosexuals, are communists. This represents just a gross misunderstanding.
To have long hair to be harassed. It does help to have long hair. That singles you out right away. But all you have to be is in the wrong place in the wrong time. I saw 2 policemen here beat up a young kid in front of my establishment for allegedly blowing them a kiss.
Long hair to the police is something obnoxious. To the people in the hippie movement, it's an expression that they are individuals and that they are going to be individuals. This is something that very often the police authority and the rest of the establishment find very difficult to understand. I would hope that the future is going to bring a great deal more understanding and more communication. I would hope that when the police want information about the hippie movement, that instead of going to other observers, to sociologists, to psychologists, they will go to the people in the movement and talk to these people and understand these people.
Strawberry Fields is a real gas. It was out in the middle of the country. I mean, miles and miles of just a nature trip, you know what I mean? With, it was like a perfect backdrop for, well, a love society, if you want to call it that. The idea of Strawberry Fields was trust. Come down to Strawberry Fields. There's nothing to get hung about. Get your head straight. Surrender to your being. Blow your mind.
I took many acid trips here, and they were all very good acid trips because I was in nature here. There's absolutely nothing in the whole world to bum my trip. Nothing in the whole world, no bad vibrations at all. Everything was natural, beautiful. By communicating with nature that way, I could see myself. I could, the whole reflection, and it was beautiful. I can look beyond all the games that were played here, and just by looking at the land, I can say I had a good time, because it's filled with memories for me. It's cool.
Yeah.
This is where I sleep. It's kind of, well, ventilated. There's no windows or anything, but
Yeah, I see.
it's not really too bad. We nicknamed the place not only Strawberry Fields, but Strawberry Fields and, well, kind of corny, but Desolation Road, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because every once in a while, you know, there'd be a lull in the happening. And as parties often are, you know.
Yeah. What type of people usually, frequent the place? I mean,
Well, all kinds. We had artists, sculptors, writers, musicians, plus just a lot of people who are more or less religious, mystical, and part-time freak, hippie, and anything, you know.
When the townspeople heard about what was happening up at Strawberry Fields, they thought it was just degrading. And so they were pretty outraged. A lot of people heard about Strawberry Fields. A lot of different religious people heard about it. A Buddhist came up here one time, some Hindus once, and even some people from the Society of Jesus, a kind of fanatical group or something, tried to get us to repent.
That was all before the house burned down. Well, it was really a sad scene. There was like this girl who was burning this candle, and she was really careless. She forgot to put a dish underneath the candle. She fell asleep, and the candle burned down in her room to the dresser.
Yeah.
And the dresser caught on fire, and then eventually the whole wall was aflame. I was sleeping. My bed was right underneath the window of her room. And I woke up, and she was screaming, and she was burned over 60% of her body. So I'm a hero, you know? Ta-da. And I opened up the window and got her out. But the house was built, obviously, before there was a L.A. code. The guy homesteaded this place, and just went ablaze. Was that her? We got her to a hospital. She's all right now. I burned practically all my hair off. We had every record imaginable, from Dylan all the way to Bach.
Yeah.
$600. Oh well, when a thing gets to be a scene, you know, and it serves its purpose, well then it's no good to you anymore. It's time to move on.
Where would you ever want to be besides right here?
Where you were. I mean, I don't mean,
You mean like a physical
someplace.
goal?
I mean, something that you want to do with your life.
Sure, live it. Why shouldn't everybody feel like I feel right now? Because all I feel is this immense feeling of sharing and this immense feeling of people around me vibrating and being alive and really digging it all the time, right now. There are a lot of our people, you know that? There really are. And they're not only just hippies. Really? They aren't. They are all hippies, if you want to name that a hippie. Yeah, but there are lots of people who dress. There's people that have never taken drugs and who dress as straight as my mama back home, man. And they're as hippie as I am. I think we could raise our vibration to such a point that even in our physical, we can be compatible with the wind. My parents told me last time I talked to them, they wanted to commit me. They thought I should be committed. And like I'm saying, but all I feel is love. Why would you want to? And they're saying, how can you accept love as a reality? Because there isn't any.
Yeah, they talk about you.
You know?
You mention the word God, and they think you're bound for Camarillo. And
right.
The community has just been entirely instigated by this place. They figure that we're a blot on their country, and a blot on their society, and a blot on their white sheep virtue. But the kids don't feel that way, see? They're still the same people, only this year they've been turned on. And they're just, this summer, they're not going to be doing the same things that they did last summer.
Lots of people blow pot. Everybody blows
I
grass.
don't think there's anything wrong with grass. In fact, I'm very much in favor of it.
I worry a lot about what I'm going to do.
Yeah, but what do you mean, what are you going to do? In the future?
What I'm, my gig,
gig.
In the proper
You'll
time.
You'll find out if you just keep expanding your consciousness, man. Just keep going on
Leave
trips like
yourself
the
open
Bible
so
and
that
Christ
when it hits you,
and
you
Buddha
won't.
and these people. Open your mind up to who these people really are. And then you'll see it all in yourself, and you'll find out that that's what you are. Well, if you know who Christ is,
know too much about Buddha.
I don't mean knowing about him, I just knowing the feeling of him. I haven't read very much either.
Well, be careful when you start reading because they seem so diametrically opposed because of the words they use. But if you look deep enough, they're
First
saying
of all,
the same
connect the
thing.
two sticks. Like by doing
Because
it
like the
across one way
total
and
absence
across
of
the
God and the total presence of God is really the same thing. It's just a different way of describing a situation.
Right, exactly, it is. It's just alternate viewpoints, which there is to everything.
Except they're not really that alternate.
They're the same.
Yeah, right.
But that's what, most of the time, like when we're talking, we don't even know, but we're all saying the same things. Like, love me and I'll love you and let's all groove together. I stood one day on my front porch in Ojai, looking at all these trees, and it was really hot sun, and I stood there, and this blew my mind completely. I stood there and realized that the sun was pouring down upon me as much as it was pouring upon the trees. I was just absorbing that much good vibration as a tree. I could be a tree. I was a tree. I was that life force, and I was a poppy, and I was all those sun rays, and I've watched the clouds, and I've disappeared into the clouds, really, you know?
Becoming what it is.
Yeah, and I know that, like there's not just me here and you there. There's me and you all over the place, and we're already doing things together. All of us are. But most of the time you just deny it, you know, but like, at least we're in the same air together. And I think that's pretty groovy, because we all feel really groovy right now. And we're giving each other all these groovy vibes, you know. And I mean, you can't be too... Yeah, honey?
I want my stick.
Where's your stick, Angie?
It's just got it. Morpheus got it.
Oh, no, Morpheus hasn't got it anymore. Our minds can make love with the air. They can make love with everything.
It's like becoming that empty matchbox and enjoying what it is.
Yeah, just laying on the grass, really. And I watched, like, I stood down by Cambria by the sea, this little town on Highway 1. I was just watching the surf come in so slow, and it would make love with the sand and then go back out. And it was constant, though. Like, we're constantly feeling a tremendous guilt for loving.
Right.
You know, if I can't love a friend, I can't love a boy, I can't love anybody. Personally, I still can't, because I can't receive love as well as I can't share.
Any bombs?
Oh, you share a great deal more than you know. I mostly just try to, I put it in giving where it should be sharing, but like, we all have some...
But when you give, in a sense, you're sharing because...
Yeah, but sometimes I don't take back. Example of the fact that we don't say drugs are the way. Out of sight, Derek, thank you. I mean, we don't advocate drugs as a way of life or anything. In fact, our world doesn't really... We use dope. Our world is not dope. He's never even taken LSD, and he's as stony as any cat I've ever met. And he's young. He's so young, you know. He hasn't had a lot of time. Does anybody have a match?
Pure love is such a powerful thing that it can be construed as a threat when it's not.
Because it's really real, you know. It really comes on like an attack almost. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever noticed that? Really, it's like you start talking to somebody and you get so involved in, like, communication, period. What's your birth sign?
Oh, Aquarius.
Really? What day are you born?
8.
Of February. I'm January 22nd. I'm Aquarius.
Oh,
Yeah, it really is. It's a good feeling, isn't it?
I like Leo.
Yeah, your eyes look like mine, Steve, a little bit.
That's fine.
Yeah, I can look in
them.
them.
The same round, yeah.
No, they don't. They don't look anywhere.
No, they can manifest different traits, but they don't look the same.
Right, exactly. Because, see, your eyes are like a window to your soul, and your soul is all that exists.
I don't know about that.
Oh, they are. Because you can see...
Because a person can control his eyes a lot better than
Yeah, but people...
I can't control my eyes. I don't even know what they're doing.
People who aren't afraid don't try.
You know?
It's only when you're afraid that you try to control your eyes because you don't want anybody to see what's going on for fear that maybe they'll use it against you.
Sure it is.
Because if you really love them...
Any kind of ego trip, Mark, is
But still, you can't
defense
look
trip.
right into that. Huh?
Oh, you can't tell what
Any kind of ego trip is a defense.
Listen, okay, you want to get rid of ego?
No, I just want to transcend mine. Personally, I don't know what anybody else wants to do with theirs.
Everything has good and bad.
Well, you know,
just take the good and try to get rid of the bad if you can.
Okay, but who's going to say what's good and what's not good?
No one but you yourself for
Yeah,
yourself.
right.
If we all at one time let loose with all the love we had, man, there would be God manifested in love right there.
That's what I would say. Be hallucinating God.
Right.
Yeah.
And we are God.
Oh, it's not a hallucination, though. That's where people make a mistake.
Yeah.
Because they...
Real.
Yeah, it is.
I think
It's
God
the only
is
real
just
thing.
like anything else, you know. I think it's God.
I understand.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
easily used as a defense. I'm not sure that it isn't totally that. I don't look at God.
But
no,
you
I
know
don't
it's
like
God
to use the
when you
word.
feel it.
No, I'm an atheist.
It's like when I was first taking acid, I'd never heard of psychedelic drugs in my life. And when somebody gave me LSD, I'd never gotten high on even liquor. I didn't even drink, so I took LSD, and I saw God that day, man. 2.5 years ago, and I saw him. And I watched a friend of mine who was a poet, who was Steve Fortier, who was Christ, who was Judas, too. You know? Like, it's all in us, because we're all God, and God is like the 12 disciples, the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 houses, the 12 everything. You know, 12 months of the year. Shit.
I'm getting high. It's coming through my ear. Now, what are you dressed as? You look like Cleopatra.
No, she's an Egyptian belly dancer with a blue button stuck in her belly. And it's a beautiful full moon out. Only a quarter is going away right now. What the United States needs is for somebody to get into the main reservoir and drop 500 cats, you know. And the whole water in the United States will be polluted with acid, and the dogs will be freaking out, and the cats and everything. And then, wow, it's all the people, you know. Or, no, just to give it to all the heads of state. Yeah, I'd really like to turn back the mirror on.
What you have here is the gathering of the tribe. No, the acid tribe. Everyone here has been through the whole scene. Now most of them can get where it's at in their minds without acid. So we're going to a whole new plateau, level of consciousness, you know. The wheel of life keeps turning, and you gotta choose. This is the whole idea of the acid graduation. You know, it's time to change. We're leaving the old. We're gonna try new things. We're going to a mind-expanded view of life without acid. That's what's happening.
Please don't get yourself away, man. I'm watch out girls then. I mean, it's college boys in America. Hassler. Hassler's his name. We don't even bother with the equipment anymore, I see. And so we're dashing along through Texas, lieutenant in the Army, just so he was used to getting up.
I've been doing drugs since I was 14. No, that doesn't mean too much. It doesn't give me a diploma, but maybe I have some basis from which to talk to you about this. There's nothing wrong with drugs. And there's nothing wrong with the crazy feeling, you know. I've had that thing, you know. You've had a good toke of hash, or you've done a little DMT, you know. You shot a little acid and you're rushing, you know, and you're lying in a thing and there's a bird, you know, and all of a sudden you're lying in the bird and you're looking down on the ground. Beautiful. But I don't use that to solve my personal hang-ups. Because my personal hang-ups weren't created with drugs, and they're not going to be cured with them.
My name is Marianne, and I'm 16. Well, see, I've been up on acid 40 times. And I've smoked pot, and I've smoked DMT sprayed pot, and I've smoked hash, and, well, and I've taken pills, you know, and I've been through the whole thing. You know, like this hippie thing, that's another thing of this love trip with these hippies. It's like they've taken acid, they experienced God, you know, if they take the right acid. This is what acid is supposed to accomplish. But when you start putting in belladonna and methadone and cocaine and all kinds of other garbage in with it, you really can't expect to get what you're supposed to on acid because it just stops you. If you really get the right kind of acid and get to where it's at, it's marvelous, of course. You're where God is at.
You know, there's no special merit to drugs except it's an escape. It's no worse than alcohol or housewives taking tranquilizers or a million other, any crutch. You know, if you can use a crutch, use a crutch. And if you get high and it's fun, get high and it's fun. But don't make a religion out of it.
When you get there, you think everything's really supposed to be like a big garden, and all anybody would ever do if they were doing the right thing would be to sit under a tree and would never wear clothes because that's just a hang-up. And, you know, everyone would just meditate every day. And, like, it's the type of thing where you say, where the hippies say, well, you know, everything is really groovy. You know, it really is groovy. But, man, like, take a look around.
At some point, you know, you need to realize that you're going to have to deal with yourself, stone cold sober, painfully unnumbed, and face some very, very, very real anxieties.
There have been too many years when people have been taught that sex was a shrine that you kneel in front of. Now that's bullshit. Sex is a groovy, beautiful, natural way for two people to communicate. It's a mutual thing like a handshake. Sex is a communication, and I don't feel you have to know someone for a year to know that you have something to say to them, and that sex is the way to say it.
Oh, well, when I lived at home, I mean, like, I didn't ball anybody. I didn't until, well, I guess when I started late. I mean, compared to nowadays, let me put it that way, the kids start balling at an early age. I mean, the people I know, they start balling at an early age. And I didn't start balling until I was, what, 17 and a half, I guess. I don't know, but it's comparatively late with the children nowadays.
Kids say they're older than their folks were at 18, and their folks say they were older than their folks were at 18, and probably they all were. But I think there was probably just as much tussling in the haystack then as there is tussling in back seats of cars now. So many of the kids, I think, use it as a kind of status thing. Who can lay the most guitarists? Who can lay the most famous drummer? And this is a very unhealthy thing. But I think there were many of our mothers who would have dropped their drawers for Frank Sinatra if they could have had a chance.
It's an everyday thing. I mean, it's not, it's like an all-the-time thing, you know? I mean, if it's possible, or if that's the way you want it, because it's just not built up like under the standards that like our parents or our grandparents had it brought up under them, like where it was shoved up and hid in the closet and don't go in there because it's bad for you. And how girls should be virgins until they're married and save yourself for your husband. Right. And I don't believe in that. I think that if you keep your virginity like that, it's like having a Christmas present. You just don't open it, you know. It's not where it's at.
Ave Maria, Ave Maria, Domini, sempre Virgini, et Filii et Spirito.
psychedelic painting is more, than just, blowing your mind and seeing what's there. It's a matter of not only seeing a body, but seeing the art relationship in a body. Notice a woman painted psychedelically. Can you remember a woman by her face? You go through Bazaar, most all of these things, and the women are quite noted, for who the women are. But these psychedelic body painters and things, it's totally unimportant what the woman's face is. And notice they're not face painters, they're body painters. It's all woman that they're painting. It's all woman that they're making beautiful. It's the glorification, of the body, of raising the body to a work of art in itself, which it is. Again, getting away from the facial idea, getting away from what she is. This is a body. It is a beautiful thing. This goes into the self-God relationship. Let me, create, touch, move, flow, worship, adorn this body. In other words, it's not a guy out of his mind, slapping paint on a woman. It may come out like that. Picasso's things come out like that, but Picasso knows what he is doing. He can make a drawing that looks like a 12-year-old child. Why is he superior? Because he knows exactly what he's doing, as nonsensical as it comes out. And when a guy paints a woman's body, that is his own way, of adorning, of making it, a beautiful thing. The thing is that when one becomes a creator, how is he going to manipulate this artificial state? And to look at a woman, like I say, the body is beautiful, unadorned, just by itself. Some bodies are the women that have been turned on to make them precious. Okay, now how are you going to relate to that? It's not a matter, most people relate it, by sweating against it, panting against it, banging against it, whatever. They think this is the way to get to that woman. To relate their basic self with her basic self, that thing called a climax, I guess. They kind of those, that man goes through so much just to have a few seconds. When, if one can do it properly, that tie-in can hold over for much longer than that. And just the fact of the slow lovemaking routine, just the fact of looking at her, being with her, and perhaps even the more artificial of painting her. With the proper woman, to actually adorn her with paints or with clothes, whatever. In a sense, when I take my wife out and buy her clothes, I'm adorning her body. And if I do that in the proper state, see, that's not any different than painting her. A turned-on person, since is turned on to all the states of the beauty that they exist in. It doesn't make any difference whether I paint my wife's body or whether I buy her beautiful clothes. The fact is I am making her a more precious object.
A few adults now who realize the kids are onto something good. And I believe the kids are onto something good. It's a whole positive thing that is happening with these kids. not in saying, you've given us a world we can't handle, we're going to withdraw from it, but you've given us a world we can't handle as it is, so we're going to change it. But we're not going to change it with bombs and guns. We're going to change it with fuzzy sweaters and flowers instead. We're going to change it with teddy bears and fudge brownies. This, again, is something I think that the adults can't grasp, because they have shaped their world, our world, into what it is with guns and bombs. They have no concept of outloving the enemy, for instance. Do him so much good he doesn't have a chance to do you bad, for instance. Get him with a kiss before he can slap you. This kind of, they have no concept of it. And you can't really blame them for not understanding. But it's obvious to our generation that their way doesn't work, it hasn't worked, it isn't going to work. So a change has to be made, and if somebody has to get turned upside down to do it, well then, everybody on their head.
I love you. You're a patriotic. You're a patriot for the world. I'm a patriot for peace. You're back, baby. Go. You're a patriot for war. I'm a patriot for peace. You're all right. I'm a father, but I can't bear children.
Mike, you can...
Naval salute. You have beautiful navals. Guard your navel at all times. It's your most precious possession. General Hersheybaugh, the sweetest general in the Pentagon, who said, kiss, don't kill. You make more friends that way. I'm the first, not the last general who says war is immoral. War kills people. That's not nice, but love makes you feel good. Hello, lovers. That's all I say. My message is love, baby. I'm spreading the love conspiracy. I'm the first psychedelic general in the Pentagon, and there's the second one, General Wastemoreland.
Naval salute, naval to naval.
He's wasted Moreland.
I graduated from the Naval Academy, NAVEL, of Love and
What's
Peace.
going on here?
Which being located at Indianapolis and close to Annapolis makes it official.
I run against LBJ in every way.
Plant flowers, not people. That's my program. I'm the first general to instigate the plant-in. I'm General Waste More Land. Hot damn, but I'm tired of wasting land.
Here's some material.
I just got back in from Vietnam, where I've wasted more land than any other general in history. But now I've come out for the plant-in. I talked last night on the hotline to Lady Bird Johnson. I said, Lady Bird, why don't we extend the beautification program with a plant-in? You see, not only keep our own country beautiful, but extend it 10,000 miles to Vietnam. Now, she said she would, so she's taking a trip. It'll be her first trip via Translove Airlines tomorrow. It's going to be a beautiful trip. She's going to start planting flowers in the hills. Also, I spoke to Smokey the Bear, the all-American bear, who said that he was going to Vietnam, too, to stamp out nasty, nasty, naughty, naughty napalm fires. You see, we want children all over the world to grow up, not burn up.
Well, I think General Hersheybaugh, that stupid name, I think he's a communist and he's on LSD.
I'm not against the Vietnam War. I'm against war. I'm against death. I'm against dying unnecessarily.
If we're good enough to go and fight for our country, I don't see why these guys here can't.
Well, I'm a pacifist. I cannot support dropping napalm. I cannot support killing innocent people. I cannot support suppressing people in any way.
There's nothing more militant than a militant pacifist.
See, if you can think, if you are really intelligent and got a college education, then tell me, please, how we can reach the communists other than by killing. Let's say they are mad dogs. Or, no, they're not really mad dogs. They're human beings. So first, accept that they're human beings. Is there any other way, even if it takes 100 years, to reach them without killing? If they are right now trying to attack us,
what is the first thing we can do that is non-violent? Then you have created a beautiful, brilliant, intelligent idea worthy of your education. If you can think of an alternative to killing, don't you understand what I'm saying? Think of an alternative to killing. I don't say stop fighting now. I don't say get out of Vietnam. Think, and maybe one day you'll be able to do that. You see what I mean? Then you can move, because you're going to get bored being a soldier, even if everybody gets bored.
There's no alternative to violence except violence. There are many people more educated than myself. Name another one. I'd like to see that myself. But no, name another one. I can't think of a way. Hey, baby, name another one. I don't know of a way.
Okay,
but if there was a way, I'd be behind it. If I thought that to have a pure world would mean...
I don't mean a pure world. I'm talking about today.
What you described to me would be what I consider to be a dream, because I wouldn't be afraid to raise my children in any world like you just described. But the reason I'm in the Army is because when I get out and when I start my life and when I know what I want to do and I do it and I have my children, I want to know that if we're not free, if there is still a conflict going on, that I wasn't doing all that I could to stop it at the time that I could.
Get out of all those countries and come back home. All the guys. We can dance with all these chicks. Look at all these chicks around here.
Yeah, we all have to dance by ourselves. We need partners. Send all the guys to Vietnam home to dance with us. That's what we want. Keep us
Why are you here?
Huh?
Here to dance.
Because I like love you.
And dance and yell and scream and
be happy.
And be happy.
Love.
Forget about all the rest of that crap.
Yes.
No idea your motive?
Just dance, honey.
Pardon?
What do you do for a living?
I'm in the Navy right now.
Yeah.
And, well, in 30 days I'll be going over to Vietnam for a year.
Yeah, I can't understand why you feel you are doing your country good by going and fighting in Vietnam. Because there's a lot of people in this country that don't think that is doing this country good. They think it's doing this country harm.
Don't push it, please. There's a sharp edge around the truck. First, back the W papers. Now signed about 200 gas cards, 1,700 pieces of paper.
But the Chinese won't be seated until Mao is over. 30 years in office, and things have settled down. There's Disneyland in Moscow, and Lucy's babies crowded into khaki pants and shipped off to the war. A model of just how to raise another Texas hypocrite.
Well, the way I feel, if they pull the guys out of Vietnam, these kids won't be back in here doing this demonstration. They'll be having a pick and shovel in their hands, digging for the communists, not doing anything else.
We are gathered here today in a mass survival rally for the survival of the people of Vietnam and for the survival of the moral integrity and the lives of the people of the United States. We are pouring $30 billion a year into a swamp from which there can be no return. We agree with President Charles de Gaulle of France that there can be no peace in the world until the United States stops its foreign intervention in Asia. The show we're patriotic, we brought red strawberry, we brought white cake, and blue drink.
Reading order for you. This is served for Democratic Society and
Thank you for your courage.
for you.
Restraining order. I'm not in the students for Democratic